Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pash On Podcast. Let's get started with your host, Brian Pash.
Hi, this is Brian Pash, and welcome to another exciting podcast interview. On today's show, we have the dynamic duo. We have, Tim Cox, co-founder of CarNow, and a new leader in the organization from the dealer community, Joe Gilmour. He's the Senior VP of Product Training and Sales Strategy at CarNow. Joe, this is the first time you've been on one of our podcasts, so welcome to the show.
Well, yeah, great. Thanks for having me.
Joe, give us a little background. I was so excited when Tim called up and said, hey, I want Joe on this podcast. I want people to hear his passion for dealers, the future of automotive retailing. But that was built from owning stores, managing multi-store dealer groups. Give us a little thumbnail for people who don't know Joe Gilmour, what you're bringing to the table at CarNow.
Yeah, so, I started early 90s, 1990, not to date myself here a little bit, in the car business as a salesperson in the Detroit market. Spent a long time in that market, almost 30 years, and did everything from sales to leadership, and was lucky enough to be a part of Roger Penske's first acquisition into that market, and worked for a dealer group there, and worked with his company when he came into the Detroit market, and went on to work for Sonic Automotive as one of their operators, and consequently thereafter ended up buying a couple of dealerships, actually 3 dealerships of my own, Chrysler dealership and a couple of Nissan stores. And once I got out of those stores and moved on into my career, I moved on as a chief operating officer for a couple of automotive groups in the Detroit market. And then made my way to CarNow, and just couldn't be more thrilled to be here. It's definitely been a passion of mine, this part of the consumer journey, and being a part of that has just been a blast.
Well, you picked a great company to invest in, Tim. You have a knack for selecting high energy, experienced executives, and Tim, I'm gonna pull you in a minute just on the overall growth of CarNow. But Joe, let me focus a question to you. We're out of the pandemic. Inventory levels are getting back to somewhat of a normal. Floor planning costs are through the roof compared to what they used to be. Higher interest rates means consumers are coming at the end of their lease and seeing what was a $400 payment now looking more like $600 to $700. There's sticker shock. Dealers are trying to engage, hold on to their customers, but it's not easy when payments jump $200, $300 a month. Car affordability is at the highest numbers of what the average car is leasing for or selling for, or what those payments are. I see those are headwinds. What are you seeing as some of the biggest challenges that dealers are facing today that may have been different for when you were the COO of a very profitable dealer group?
Yeah, so you definitely hit on all of the challenges, right? I mean, we definitely are in a different space than the car business was pre-pandemic, and this supply and demand a challenge that we have. But I will say, all the dealers are dealing with the same things, right? They're all dealing with the same supply issues. They're dealing with the same credit issues. They're dealing with a lot of the same things that keep them up at night. For me, what I'm really seeing, and I'm a consumer now too, which has been a lot of fun. I'm actually on the other side of it, and having to be a consumer. So I've been able to experience this firsthand now. And I'll tell you that the thing that differentiates right now for me is the experience, because a lot of times you can get the same car for the same price down the street. And again, that price might not be what you want it to be these days, but we are all kind of dealing with the same challenges.
That's right.
Yeah. But to me, it's the experience, right? And I think so finding a way to hone in on that experience and make that a better consumer experience, because that's what's going to differentiate you from the other people. And that's where the consumers are going to do business.
Joe, one of the themes this year at the Modern Retailing Conference, and you may see this more and more in the coming weeks as we get closer to November, is elevating the customer experience. You had many companies to choose from, but you hit the nail on the head. Dealers need to really focus on differentiating what that customer experience is from your work with CarNow in the past. Now that you're talking to dealers, what do you think that's one thing that's unique about CarNow that's helping dealers elevate the customer experience?
I would say the internal experience, the experience of the team. It's built by car people. There are a lot of car people inside the organization, so they understand, not just the industry and the day-to-day operational things that dealers go through, but they understand the consumer, and the ability to marry that experience back and forth has really given us as a team a great edge, I believe, above a lot of our competition who may not have that same experience.
Tim, a few years back, I guess it is now, you shocked the automotive retail community by hiring Bob Lanham, who was the head of really the automotive vertical at Meta, at that time, Facebook. You're bringing in high quality automotive leaders like Joe, and our listeners are going to learn a little bit more today about Joe's vision for the product. But let's pause for a minute. There was recently an announcement that you hired a new CEO, a veteran from the automotive industry, a gentleman I met a number of years ago. Tim, tell us a little bit about your new CEO, and let's talk about this A-list team that you're building that is just ready to catapult CarNow to its next impact in automotive retail.
Sure, Brian, and thank you for the privilege of having both Joe and I on. Kane comes with a pretty incredible pedigree as well. You see on his LinkedIn, former CTO of Cars, built some incredible product with Car, with Driven and some other thing. Really understands this space well, and we wanted to. If you're not, I talk about all the time, you got to review the game film. And, we came to market almost a decade ago now, with, first to the market, rich content in SMS. And then a couple years, companies are doing this and that. Now we got to continue to innovate. Well, the exciting thing is understanding that we have to continue to want more, and to serve the well over 5,000 plus dealers now that are part of the CarNow family. We have to, in a world of a lot of shiny new objects, build and continue to build on the very strong foundation that is the conversation. And we've got some more product vision that will be coming out next year, and some more partnerships, but just excited about, Kane, and had spent some time this week actually at another conference, and just really encouraged about the path of CarNow, the vision of CarNow that Joe and Bob and now Kane is helping us put together. And it's never been a better time to be part of this family than is right now.
Well, I'm excited to sit down with Kane Grau in the future and kind of see and hear from him as well. When I think of CarNow, and for maybe some of the dealers who are not as familiar with your product evolution, many years ago in Las Vegas at the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference, or maybe it was Automotive Boot Camp, I don't know, I published some findings on the form completion rate, which said that less than 40% of the people who clicked on a button that said get e-price filled out the form, and less than half of those were actually contacted. You were one of two companies who raised their hand and said, man, we really need to move our business model to help dealers engage, not chase. We came up with that slogan, serve, not chase. And it's funny, the dealers who have implemented CarNow for real-time retailing have doubled their showroom appointments, yet still the minority of dealers have a vision of elevating the customer experience by serving the consumer when they're on the website. You expanded the product set with a full digital retailing suite. You now have your showroom matching experience. And so, Joe, when I think about CarNow's core vision to serve, not chase, to create an environment that mirrors the dealer's culture, providing penny perfect payments online with the same interface now in the store. When you are out talking to dealers, Joe, what are you focused on helping them see, like how CarNow can fill the gap? Because still so many dealers have one tool on their website, a different tool in the showroom, or they're still just chasing people after they fill out a form. They don't get this idea that they actually can double their showroom visits by serving, not chasing. What's the breakthrough, Joe, that you believe, as you're talking to dealers, can happen when dealers fully embrace the tech stack of CarNow?
You nailed it. I think when you said that experience, and that experience that correlates between online and showroom, or online or when they come into the store, right? The ability to take that journey from the time you meet them online or from the time you meet them in the store and mirror those, right? So as that consumer, say they start online and they start in chat and they go through a DR session and they exit out of that DR session and off ramp right into the showroom, our showroom tool has the ability now to pick up right where they left off. There's not the duplication of gathering information, and you're really being respectful of their time, and respectful of your staff time, right? I mean, not only are we making the journey better for the customer, but we want to make the journey better for everybody involved, including the dealer and their employees. So creating these solutions that connect all that into one great experience for everybody that's involved, it drives everything. It drives good CSI, drives good profitability. And look, we know all those things mean more car sales, and consumers come back for repeat business.
I want to lean in for a moment to the dealers who are finding today's economic situation a little challenging. I was recently talking to an Infinity dealer, and I think, without being mean-spirited, selling Infinities in this current economic climate is very difficult because the brand isn't well advertised. They don't have a wide range of exciting product. And I was talking to an Infinity dealer and saying, Brian, we just need more opportunities to sell these vehicles. We're pricing them right. They are beautiful vehicles once you get someone into the showroom. And I said, hey, you want twice as many more people in your showroom? Take down your forms, go right to conversational commerce, and have a connected retailing experience. And the team looked at me as like, really, I could double? And I'm like, yeah, because your model is, I'm going to disappoint the customer while they're on my website, and then I'm going to aggravate them by chasing them. Tim, you and I have been working on this for a long time. We've called it real-time retailing. And now with your showroom tool, we've talked about connected retailing. Why, in your mind, Tim, you're traveling, you're talking with the OEMs, how do we break this idea it's all about leads and chasing and more about serving? What are you trying to do in 2023 and 2024 to just prove it? And you've done this with many, many groups, case studies, but still they don't want to staff for servicing customers online. What's going to have to change, Tim?
Well, we're taking a little different approach, which is why at MRC this year, we are going to have Bob Warner, who is, in Manchester, New Hampshire, one of the smallest. And I love giving people have heard me say it before, facts over feelings. So if we get enough, like for example, when I was behind the desk, Joe's the same way, and I was pitched a new product or somebody came, one of the questions, right, wrong, or indifferent, would be, well, who's using it in my PMA or in my market area, and who can I call, and that type of thing. So not just us and case studies and things that our marketing team puts together, but putting several different dealers together so you can hear it directly from them. And the most powerful thing about Bob and what he's done is, here are the facts that are not deniable. He has one of the smallest market areas in the country. Mazda has nearly 600, I think the number is 580, I could be wrong, plus dealers. And Mazda is an incredible OEM brand. But yet he ranks, and I said this before, and one of my friends that was a Mazda dealer, I said it in Clubhouse actually, and I said he was number 28, and they correctly said, no, he's number 32. Regardless, anywhere close to that is a phenomenal job when you're ranking 32 out of nearly 600 dealers with the smallest PMA. And he will tell you, and he will tell the MRC audience there in the breakout that we have in beautiful South Florida, what he does. And he did he rigged a doorbell every time one came in, so they could know that there was a live customer that wanted that type of experience. So really, partnering with dealers that have actually done it, because everybody's Miss America in a pitch. Let's just be honest. Everybody's Miss America in a keynote, because at the end of the day, they just want you to buy their stuff, right? But at the end of the day, let's talk to dealers, and we've pivoted a little bit to really get our dealers, and we're really putting together an incredible advisory board for next year, to where we're going to get our dealers more involved as we continue to lean in on what is, at the end of the day, selling and servicing more vehicles, but getting their voices out there to share the same story too, because it's just a fact.
Yep. And Tim, I want to challenge all the dealers listening to today's podcast. I'm going to ask you to get two numbers today. I want you to get two numbers. Since every website of scale is now supporting the ASE specification, here's what I want you to do. On your VDPs and on your SRPs, you can now, without any programming, get how many times your get e-price or get today's price button is clicked, or even schedule a test drive, check availability, get all these counts. And then I want you to look in the CRM. So, for example, take a look at the month of September. How many times was get e-price, get today's price, unlock price, whatever crazy forms you have on the website? And then go into your CRM and see how many of each of those lead types are there. And what you're going to be is shocked. You're going to find out that 75% of the people do not play that game. Yet you have inventory sitting on the lot. You have floor planning costs eating through your bottom line. And so get your own data. How many times those CTA buttons are clicked a month and how many leads you get. Now, once you have that data, you are going to be upset. But here's why the data is so exciting. Number two, ask your BDC manager, would you be able to handle, and I'm just going to pull up a number, 50 more text conversations or chat conversations a day if those people didn't have to be chased, you didn't have to do your 5 calls and 5 emails. Could you do 50 a day? And the average dealer has less of those per day anyway. And any competent BDC manager, we're calling people 3, 4, 5 times. They don't recognize our number. They're not picking up the phone. You're telling me 50 people a day that I could talk to real time? Yeah. Would you do it? And there isn't a BDC manager who wouldn't say yes. But the CarNow technology allows those CTA buttons to go to chat, notify the BDC, someone's working through a real life conversation, jump in, talk to people. It's transformational. You're absolutely right. It's facts, not feelings. Joe, you are now Senior VP of Product. I know dealers are very excited that you now have a showroom solution for that first pencil. Explain to me light desking. The the opportunity for a customer to start online, be greeted by the salesperson with the same look and feel, with the same numbers. What's the impact that's having on your dealers? What feedback are you getting? Because I know it's been something that dealers have been asking for, post-pandemic.
Yeah, I believe that as this consumer journey has evolved and the needs and the wants of the consumer have changed, that Amazon-like experience or some of the other experiences that they get out there and other, when they're consuming other goods, the dealer body has to evolve with it. So giving the consumer the ability to begin working portions of their deal, maybe not the whole deal, but portions of their deal, maybe do a quote unquote light pencil of their own. Of course, they're controlled by the dealers. So the dealers like that. The dealers get to decide which parts of the pencil they want to jump in on, or how much of the journey they'll allow either their staff or the customer to do alone, or to do on their own time through a DR experience. But the feedback has been great. Not just from consumers, but from the dealers as well. And we've found, in that process, if they allow them even to get into the F&I solutions and the F&I products, gross goes up. Products per vehicle or per retail go up. So they're selling more products, they're making more gross by allowing the consumer to at least engage in the process versus the process being engaged on them.
Well, dealers who are listening today, marketing managers who are listening today, please, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I see the facts. When dealers simplify their websites, have a limited number of buttons on cars, embracing those consumers with conversations, the experience is elevated. If you match the experience online with great people in the showroom with the same numbers, people don't get defensive. And Joe, as you mentioned, if they have an idea of the F&I products that are available and that it may only add a couple dollars per month to their payment, when it's brought up into the showroom, it's not a shock and surprise. One of the things that I think is not fully understood is anytime dealers make a change to real-time retailing, digital retailing. I'm still shocked how many people have no digital retailing tool on their website. It is significant. They need support. So, Joe, your SVP responsibilities include training and sales strategy. What approach has CarNow found to a dealer raises their hand, they say, I want real-time retailing, I want transparent digital retailing, I want it online and in the showroom, but I have no idea how to get started, how to change my staffing models. How does CarNow help?
We continue to hone and iterate on that as the industry keeps evolving more and more and more. So, our main focus is to support the dealer with people in the stores, with also other ways that we support them internally here at CarNow as well. We've just invested in a learning management system, so we're starting to kind of roll that out to our dealers and roll that out to the entire organization so that can be a resource for them, creating online universities for the in-store people, CarNow universities. But I believe our differentiator is really the hands-on approach. We send people into the stores to coach, train, bring people up to speed on how our solution works, best practices. We see some of the things with, again, like Tim was saying, with 5,000 plus dealers nationwide. You can't believe the amount of best practices that we have available to us. So we bring all of that to the table and we serve it up to our customers and serve it up to the dealers in person.
Well, listen, I know one thing, in-person training trumps just online or remote. It's my experience. I still enjoy, I spend a lot of time on the road. And I know the dealers who have actually transformed their business, one of their things that they've commented is they love the support that CarNow had offered them. Tim, I want to ask you a question before our time runs out. We have some dealers who've still been staying on the sidelines. because they feel that the digital retailing workflows are not flexible enough or customizable enough to match their culture. But I've always found that CarNow has been probably the fastest to iterate changes or add new features. For a dealer who's listening today and says, hey, Brian, I've looked at this and this and this, but they just don't work the way our business works. What would you tell that dealer about CarNow's configurability, the workflow? Are we as an industry fighting still these arguments, or has CarNow figured out how to deliver an experience that the dealers say, hey, this matches my culture and my sales process?
I think what I would tell them, not to sound pious, but I would say, trust us. I would say, don't look at your present provider's own reports. Don't look at CarNow's reports. Go into your CRM, into your own CRM, into your source report, and take the existing products and see how many cars they sold. I think I even stole this from you, or you stole it from me, or whatever it was, but I heard years ago at your conference, people would tell me all the time, hey, you're crushing it. And then they would give me their own report, but yet I sold the same amount of cars I did the month before. So, look, we just get it real. Why is, Bob Lanham from Facebook, why is Joe Gilmour, why is Kane joining? And we're putting, because I always say in our little podcast, no one's smarter than everyone. We are not so naive to think that. Just got off the phone today with an amazing dealer group, largest dealer group in Kentucky. Their dealerships run different than Sonic. They run different than Morgan. They run different than, and not necessarily run, but there's different people, different strengths and weaknesses, and understanding that we may not be the smartest people in the room, and that the way we configured it is the only way you do it. But, getting those leads to the right people. And I'll land the plane here. You talked about, people clicking on chat, and you were very influential on, when we raised our hand many years ago for those conversational workflows. Do you know that 48.2% of through our tool, 48.2% of every conversation leads to a digital retailing session? Why is that important? When you talk about because we care about selling and servicing more vehicles, because now we're getting more information. Now we don't just have, what's your name? What's your number? When can you come in? We have name, number, contact information. What's your trade information? Maybe a soft pull. So it eases the experience, less work for the dealership inside, obviously, and creates that experience. A lot of people talk experience is almost that buzzword right now, like culture is. But what is really happening in the dealership? That's why we're bringing a lot of dealer principals and great managers into these conferences with us, so they can tell the story alongside with us.
Well, when you build out that LMS, let me do a couple modules on how to look at your Google Analytics to see what your form completion rate is. Maybe facts, not feelings, showing a dealer how to look into GA4 and see how many people a day are being disappointed and how many opportunities are available if you had a platform that could do real-time retailing, also integrated with those first pencil tools to give consumers the answers they want, which primarily today. And I was just talking with an industry colleague about the rise and focus on payments. Payments are the hot button because people are kind of getting shocked. And Joe, you said, look, then go to dealer A, dealer B, and dealer C, and those payments are all higher. Now, what's going to get that consumer in? Probably the dealer that starts with a conversation, not a number, a dealer that explains the context of what's happening with rates, a dealer who's collaborative and trying to get that payment one way or another down into a range that they can afford, because the tools allow that interactive discussion. Joe, if a dealer is interested in seeing the latest iteration of the CarNow portfolio, which includes that real-time retailing, messaging, digital retailing, showroom experience, where should they go to set up a demo?
Obviously, they can contact either myself or Tim Cox. We're happy to take those calls or those emails at CarNow, and we can leave those email addresses with you. But they can go to our website to CarNow as well and find it there, and set up a demo as well through those websites. But ultimately, we'd love to talk to them and love to spend time with them.
Right. Well, listen, this interview is part of a series leading up to the Modern Retailing Conference, where we're going to be focusing on elevating the customer experience. How are we going to be doing that? Well, the sub themes are, reimagining the retail experience, putting a new priority on your first party data, implementing technologies that allow greater communication through texting and leveraging AI. We're going to be talking about measurement, of course, like we always do, because as Tim said, what are these tools really doing to move the needle to our bottom line? And some of that new measurement is understanding how to do it in GA4. The Modern Retailing Conference sells out every year. So don't blame me if you wait to the last minute to try to buy a ticket or book your hotel room. But once again, we're back at the O Resort in Palm Beach. The dates are November 12th, 13th, and 14th. That's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and we are going to have a great show. I am so excited about some of the new larger dealer groups that have reached out to me and say, Brian, we want to learn about CDPs. We want to learn about new technologies. We want to learn about modern sales process. And of course, CarNow is right in the middle of all that. So make sure you book a demo. Don't wait till November, but then you'll be able to sit down with the CarNow team in Palm Beach and really get into the meat of the discussion on how to evolve your dealership's customer experience. And if this is the first time you're listening to one of our podcasts, you should know that there are now dozens, over 100 interviews with industry leaders, innovators, and rule breakers that are helping to have a shot at helping dealers grow their business, grow their market share, and basically create a sustainable business, a family legacy in each community. So make sure you just Google search or on your favorite podcast channel, just search for Brian Pash Podcast and you'll find us. Tim, every year, the CarNow team, people want to hang out with you. You always have a nice dinner or a little event. So I'm sure people are looking forward to it. For someone who hasn't been to the O, how would you rate that hotel and setup for a conference, Tim?
It is absolutely phenomenal. So, in fact, we're treating a few people on the CarNow team that have done a great job to be a part of the event to help, obviously, demo and do some other things, just as obviously to help us, but just as a reward. Because I don't know if it's a 4 or 5 star, but it should be, because it's a phenomenal experience, and you should go.
Well, thanks, Joe and Tim, for your support of dealer education, for your passion. I love the fact that one of your company values is being fully charged, and no one ever could say Tim Cox hasn't been fully charged, if not overcharged, in his passion to deliver just outstanding value to dealers. So, gentlemen, thanks for being on a podcast. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And don't forget to get out to MRC. And in the meantime, learn more about the CarNow platform by going to carnow.com. Thanks, everyone. And I'll catch you next time on another podcast interview.